One dirty move is all it takes to lose a championship, nearly kill someone,
That's naughty from Michael.
I have no chance then to admit.
or even take someone to court for over $100 million in damages. But with all these disgusting plays to come, as legendary as Michael Schumacher was, he's also known as being one of the dirtiest drivers in the sport's history. But this time, in 2010, after he'd already retired, he realised he hadn't caused enough drama on track just yet. His victim, his old Ferrari teammate, Rubens Barrichello. But down the main straight, Barrichello on fresh Supersofts was catching him quick. That's when,
as they come up now towards the corner, that is a lot better. He's trying to on the inside. Schumacher's almost put him in the wall. Schumacher almost put him in the wall there.
That's naughty from Michael. Rubens will be livid with that.
Black flag for that, black flag. That was horrible.
watch Michael looking in his mirrors. He knew he was coming and yet still shoved him within inches of that wall at around 300 kilometers per hour. Look at that gap, the size of the balls on Rubens, I tell you. But for the stewards, they couldn't believe how insane that was either. They slapped Michael with a 10-place grid penalty, with not only Rubens calling it a go-kart maneuver, but Schumi didn't care. If he dies, he dies.
And this is the problem with Michael Schumacher. For all his greatness, he never knows when to give it up.
Exactly right. This isn't even the dirtiest plays we'll see of him, with the last two being the filthiest of the lot. But for Alonso in 2007, he'd tear down the entire McLaren team to show the world how ruthless he could be. McLaren brought on not just the reigning world champion as their golden boy, but a new little rookie to play second fiddle to him. Problem was, that man was Lewis Hamilton. All season, the two of them were right behind each other's tails. But what was meant to be a dream team quickly devolved into chaos. Alonso realised his prized position in the team was up, as McLaren now wanted a British winner in a British car. For Lewis,
Sort of learn what can happen in motorsport, who you can trust, who you can't, whether you believe people or whether you don't.
he saw McLaren had completely lost control of their drivers and turned the season into a complete free-for-all.
I'm not here to finish 10th or something, I'm here to win.
But Hungary was when the volcano erupted. Just 2 points in it coming into qualifying in what would now be one of the most legendary quali moments. Lewis was sitting on provisional pole in Q3.
Well, he goes fastest at the moment at 1:19.7.
With both of them firing into the pits. Alonso came in first with Lewis loading up behind. But as soon as Fernando was given the green light to go, it happened.
There's Lewis Hamilton queuing up behind him. And have they raised the lollipop to let Alonso out? Yep, they want him out of there. Now Alonso's not getting on with it. Only 1:40 to go. Is he blocking Hamilton here? Is that a bit of a tactic within the team there to give Hamilton a bit of a headache? I think it might well be. That's really up to you now.
That was a little bit naughty, I think.
McLaren couldn't believe it. Alonso knew if he held Hamilton up in the pits just long enough, it was blocking him off from getting another flying lap in. And it worked. Lewis didn't have enough time.
Checkered flag and Hamilton's missed it by 4 seconds.
And from Fernando,
Is he going to take provisional pole position on this very controversial day? Yes, he does! He goes through on a 19.6.
sneaky.
We'll discuss it later when it's been discussed in the team.
But his little dirty game didn't work how he'd imagined.
Alonso was stripped of his pole position and relegated to 6th, and the team would score no constructors' points for this race.
Fernando's cheeky little smile here is so funny to me, but with a 5-place grid penalty, that little smirk quickly got wiped away. Lewis would go on to win that race with Alonso back in P4, but to think if he would have just let him through, and considering how close the season end was, even a P2 here would have been enough to snag his 3rd world championship. For Schumacher, he's back at it again, in the event that showed the world that one of the future GOATs is also one of the filthiest drivers in the sport's history. The final race of the season. Schumacher in the Benetton leading Williams' Damon Hill by only a single point in a proper winner-takes-all, but no one could even imagine what was about to take place.
Racing for the last time in this season, and Michael Schumacher takes the lead. Schumacher takes the lead, or is it Damon Hill? It's Schumacher who leads from Hill.
With Schumacher out in front after turn 1, all he had to do was survive to be crowned the world's champion. But with Hill in tow, Damon wasn't going to make this easy. That was until lap 36, when this happened.
He's turning into the left, he gets too sideways, he goes off. Schumacher's made the mistake, he hits the wall, he's damaged his own car.
Michael had bottled it, spearing off into the wall, but with Damon Hill right on his tail in typical Schumi fashion, he got dirty with it.
And that looks, Schumacher's off. Time, Hill goes by.
Oh, out goes
Schumacher. The German is out.
That is a fundamental mistake, I believe, from Michael Schumacher.
Knowing he let the lead and the world champion slip away, Schumacher intentionally smashed into the side of Hill in one last-ditch effort to spin him off.
That was a desperate manoeuvre by Schumacher.
For Hill
only has to keep going to be world champion, but can he keep going?
look at that front left. It was snapped without a hope in hell of getting that car back out there.
Looking at that left front wishbone, Hill shaking his head, he knows in his heart of hearts that it is all over.
Michael had done it. For Hill, it would get worse. It was obvious Michael played bumper cars with Hill. Everyone saw it, yet the stewards didn't even throw a penalty his way. Hill was heartbroken. He couldn't believe it. Michael got away with it. This was the day the world found out how unsporting Michael could be. Michael's biggest opponent was himself. Unsurprisingly, this won't be the last time we see Schumi in this video, but for Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in 2021 though, to be a true champion, you need to pull out every sneaky trick in the book. But for these two, they'd nearly kill each other in that hunt for gold. We're going to break down this season's rivalry into 3 parts. First, we must go to Silverstone, as Lewis desperately needed a home win.
You want to be the one to raise the Union Jack for the fans. It's like the most proud moment an athlete can have.
With Max now taking a decent lead in the championship.
And it's lights out and away we go!
For the first 40 seconds of this race, it was pure art watching these two dogs claw away at each other.
Hamilton's going to try again, this time on the inside, a continent touch! Verstappen is out of the race and that's a big crash! Hamilton continues on!
After winning here 7 times before this, Lewis knew the gaps here better than most, saw one and went for it. But Max has that dog in him, trying to cut off Lewis before the pass was made, throwing that Red Bull into the barriers at around 290 kilometers per hour. In a 51G impact. Verstappen may have been okay, but this wasn't over. The war had well and truly begun.
That's an enormous accident, and it was 100% Max's corner. Full blame lays on Hamilton.
Hamilton, even though slapped with a 10-second time penalty, still clawed his way back to snag first.
He wins the British Grand Prix!
Hamilton 25 points, Max 0. Monza, 4 races later, now only 5 points in it. One race can flip the script on who leads the championship and this war. To lap 23, and as Max gracefully put it,
Yeah, my tyres are...
not a worry, Red Bull are banging at pit stops, right?
What is happening down at Red Bull? They'll be lucky if that's sub 10 seconds.
11.1 seconds. What a bag fumble.
Every twist and turn is critical for the World Championship.
Lewis is in. Merck didn't throw this Red Bull given gift away, and for the title, this was Lewis's moment for the taking.
Into the first chicane, it's wheel to wheel. Verstappen and Hamilton have crashed out, and they are both out!
A very big accident. Hope Hamilton's okay.
That's what you get when you don't leave the space.
Coming into the chicane, turn 1 was easy, but with how narrow the road was, that meant someone had to give up their space. Max's space closed off, firing off that chunky sausage curb into the air, onto Hammy's tyres and landing right on top of his head. This war was a game of chicken, a game neither of them are willing to lose. And honestly, if that halo wasn't there, a game Lewis would have died over. But to Saudi Arabia, where this war reached its absolute tipping point, 8 points in it. After Lewis chucking out mega drives in Brazil, where
Hamilton pulls ahead of Verstappen. He was 20th and last on the grid for the sprint. Here on lap 59, he has gone from last all the way to first.
We're bringing out this gem of a reaction from Toto. But for Max, if Lewis finished P7 or below, the title would be going Dutch.
Hamilton is on pole. Max Verstappen is 3rd.
It's lights out, away we go.
Lap 37.
They go wheel to wheel. They almost collided.
Hamilton avoids the collision.
Max doesn't like to yield, does he?
Max saw Lewis coming a mile off and railed it deep into the corner, forcing Lewis out of the pass, but it was way too late. Mercedes were pissed.
Toto, just give me a second. That is pretty crazy.
Copy that, Lewis, we're on it.
The FIA saw right through Max's plans.
I'm going to ask Max to give that position up.
We felt we were pushed off there. Let's give the position back to Hamilton. Do that strategically.
Do it strategically was the call, but that's not what happened, was it?
Just brake testing me.
That's That's just pure filth from Max, brake testing Lewis instead of just letting him by. If he would have let him through, Max would have still had a chance to win this race, but instead,
it's Hamilton and Mercedes on top.
That's enough to earn Mercedes a record 8th Constructors title in a row. The last race of this season is a video we have in the works, as it's one of the most legendary final races of all time. But spoilers,
Max Verstappen is champion of the world.
you'd think with Schumacher slipping through the cracks earlier that he would have learnt his lesson. But what if I told you 4 years later we'd be in exactly the same position and Michael would be at it again? Jerez 1997. Michael led the championship by just 1 point in front of Jacques Villeneuve. Sound familiar? But qualifying would bring about the first freak event of the weekend.
I cannot believe this. Fenton has done exactly the same time as Jacques Villeneuve and Michael Schumacher.
It's race day.
What do you think will be the key to victory here?
Well, first of all, not being taken off.
Schumi had led for the majority of the first 47 laps, but you can hear from the commentary things had started to go wrong.
Michael Schumacher's very slow. I wonder if he's got something like a slow puncture. Villeneuve is all over him, look. He's going through. Oh, yes. I don't think.
Out goes Michael Schumacher.
That didn't work. That didn't work, Michael. You hit the wrong part of him, my friend. I don't think that will cause Villeneuve a problem.
Here we go again. In a near identical scene, Michael turned in, trying to do what he could to take down Villeneuve's Williams, but to no avail. The Ferrari beached in the gravel trap. If it worked before, it'll work again. Right, Michael?
Michael came back to the pits, convinced that Jacques had hit him. And then when we showed him the video, he realised that wasn't the case.
It was Villeneuve's for the taking, and he took it.
Me was really hard. I'm surprised that I could actually finish. I couldn't go more on the inside. I was actually on the grass. Michael had his eyes closed.
Michael took second place in the championship. Michael this time didn't even try to hide how filthy this move was. The FIA saw straight through his kamikaze pilot's plan.
Although the act was apparently deliberate, it was instinctive and it was not premeditated.
I'm as much human being as anyone, and things can happen to me as they can happen to anyone else. I didn't want to admit at the time, but now I have no chance then to admit, and I understand what I did.
Michael wasn't just disqualified from the race, but the entire season. No one else in F1 history has been personally excluded from a completed world championship like this. Unsurprisingly, this won't be the last time we see Schumi in this video. But now to Red Bull, and for Sebastian Vettel, as cheery as he is, underneath has a nasty dark side. For Mark Webber, he wasn't going to back down for anyone, and thus spawned a hell of a rivalry, sparking back in Japan 2007 when they rammed into the back of each other.
And hit me behind the safety car, man.
Or a few years later, with both of them at Red Bull in Turkey 2010, when they spun each other off, going for the lead, spawning this absolute gem from Seb.
What the f*** are we doing here? What a stupid action! I'm going home.
But in Sepang 2013, this is where all hell would break loose. With a few laps to go, Red Bull would make a now legendary call to Seb.
Sebastian, multi-map 2-1. Multi-map 2-1.
Basically, we're a few laps from the end for a 1-2 finish. Don't mess this up now.
Well, Sebastian, you need to give him the space. Pole position.
But that's not how Seb works.
It's wheel to wheel again for the two Red Bulls. Can Webber scrap back? Oh, fantastic stuff.
This is silly, Seb. Come on.
Vettel couldn't care less about team orders. He wanted that win.
Webber on the inside. Vettel goes dancing round the outside. How good was that?
Yep, that's good teamwork.
Okay, Mark, he was told.
Sebastian Vettel, who wins the Malaysia Grand Prix.
Good job, Sebastian. There'll be some explaining to do.
Webber was pissed.
Multi-21, Seb. Yeah, multi-21.
I won a race as well. In the end, Seb made his own decisions today, and we'll have protection as usual, and that's the way it goes.
Any chance of these two extinguishing that rivalry had more than gone. Seb said he apologised to the team, but notably not to Webber himself.
I don't apologise for winning. I think that's why people employed me in the first place.
But the ruthlessness doesn't end there. As with 2 races to go, Ayrton Senna needed just 1 more win to secure the 1990 season. But up against Alan Prost, these two already had beef from the year before, as at that exact same race, when they both raced for McLaren, this happened.
This is the opportunity that Senna's looking for, and he's going through. Out! Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. This is what we were fearing. Prost has won the World Championship.
Senna wanted revenge, but now with a near exact repeat scenario of the year before, this was his time.
89 was a disgraceful one. I won the race here.
Problem, this is the grid. Senna in P1 starts on the right, but that side of the track was dirty and off the racing line. Senna tried to get the FIA to swap the grid positions, but when that appeal was rejected, Senna was seething.
I can't stand it. I can't stand this. After what happened last year, it's a joke.
You see, Suzuka was notorious for having barely any passing whatsoever.
Prost, starting from second on the grid on the left-hand side, is actually going to have a start advantage.
So, whoever won out of turn 1 would probably win the whole race.
But Alain Prost takes the lead. It's happened.
Senna warned everyone he wasn't going to back down into turn 1. One gamble for the whole championship.
Senna is trying to go through on the inside, and it's happened immediately. This is amazing. Senna goes off at the first corner. But what has happened to Prost? That is amazing, but I fear absolutely predictable.
Just as Senna called it, the pass happened immediately. But even if the pass wasn't on, he stuck true to his guns and didn't let off the gas, ramming both of them into a wall. Revenge was his.
Fortunately, we touched in the first corner when we were fighting for the lead, and we both went off.
I think that's because the pole position is on the wrong side of the track here. You wanted to change that.
Absolutely. You break your on pole, and then they put you on the wrong side of the circuit.
How do you feel about being world champion?
It's not a bad feeling at all, is it?
Prost couldn't believe it.
But I never lie, and I can tell you he has done 100% deliberately. That's what I don't accept.
Last year I lost in a similar manner, and this year went wrong for him.
Yes, the move was dirty, but his revenge was bittersweet. If you think these drivers can't get any dirtier, you'd be so wrong. As guess what? Michael's back for another one of his nastiest moments to date. This time in 2006, but even though he had 7 world champions in the bag, he wasn't the big kid on the block anymore. Even though the reigning champ Fernando Alonso has stood on the podium at every race so far, in this qualifying session in Monaco, Michael had thrown himself onto provisional pole.
1:13.898 to go fastest ahead of Raikkonen.
Problem was, there was more time for others to get their laps in, and Michael wasn't 100% confident his time was going to stick at the top. He had to come up with a plan. Remember, Monaco is infamous for its lack of passing on race day, so pole basically meant a win. Michael wouldn't stop at anything, regardless of how shameful it might be. So, what did he do?
Somewhere in the middle sector of this lap. 1 second
he's made
to go.
another one at the Rascasse Martin, straight on, missed the turn in.
Yeah, but that's going to spoil everybody else's lap too. The yellow flags are going to be out. That's going to keep in pole position. I wouldn't be at all surprised.
All the other drivers had to slow down, denying them that one last run for the top spot. And it worked. Michael took the pole for race day, right?
It was around about 11 o'clock last night that the stewards sent him to the back of the grid, and there the driver deliberately stopped his car on the circuit.
Everyone knew how dirty Michael could be.
People should know better who I am and what I am after all these years.
He's been in situations like this before, with Damon Hill, with Jacques Villeneuve.
And the pressure immediately started mounting, as it's obvious what his plan was. Stick your car sideways on a tight corner? Yeah, alright Michael.
What happened? I pushed hard, locked up, started sliding, and run out of road. The consequence here in Monte Carlo.
This is the way Ferrari manage, you know.
No big surprise that Michael had to stop, is it?
To add insult to injury, with Alonso in P2 at the time, that started him on pole. But remember, pole basically meant a win. And that's exactly what happened. Michael not only ended up in P5, but lost the whole championship to Alonso at the end of that season. But now we come to arguably one of the filthiest moves that didn't just go to court, but potentially ruined a championship for one of Ferrari's greatest. Singapore 2008, the first ever night race. Fernando Alonso and Renault were the same powerhouse they were years earlier, as they still needed their first win of the season. Nelson Piquet Jr. in Renault's second seat was personally managed by Renault's team principal Flavio Briatore. Alonso started in P15. This is where it gets spicy. On only lap 12, Renault yank Alonso in early and dump in a ton of fuel.
But if you try something different, you never know.
Dead last, but only 2 laps later, it happens.
Oh, big crash! That's Nelson Piquet.
Sorry, guys.
Nelson Piquet Jr. spears the wall exiting turn 17. Safety car. Okay, so in 2008, when the safety car came out, the pit lane initially closed.
If you have to come into the pits when the pit lane is closed, you'll get 10 seconds penalty.
So the grid either stacked up or took penalties, while Alonso, already heavy on fuel, drove past everyone, avoiding the mess entirely.
Alonso's effectively going to be leading the Grand Prix, isn't he?
That doesn't look suspicious at all, Briatore, you dirty little snake. It goes deeper. Rosberg and Kubica dive in, sacrificing themselves for penalties. When Ferrari released Massa...
Oh no! That's a big mistake. Massa's gone. He's taken the hose with him as well, I think, and it could well cost him the Grand Prix.
And it did. That mess fired Alonso up up into P5, and at race end he took his first Grand Prix win in over a year. But a year later, the bombshell drops. After Renault dropped Piquet Jr., he told the FIA he was instructed by Briatore and Pat Simmons, the executive director of engineering, to crash his car not just on purpose, but specifically at turn 17 on lap 14, where recovery cranes couldn't reach quickly, thus bringing out a long safety car. Absolutely disgusting if it was true. And it was. The World Motorsport Council rules Renault guilty of conspiring to cause the crash. Simmons for 5 years. Renault got handed a 2-year suspension, but Briatore was banned indefinitely. Well, at the time, because if we look at Alpine's team principal this season, look who's back. But as of November 2025, this story rages on, as a court ruled that Massa can recover damages in regards to the controversy, but is not just looking for £64 million in compensation, but since he was in P1 as Piquet Jr. hit the wall, he argues that if he would have won that race, he would have enough points to win the whole 2008 championship, considering he only lost it by 1 point. We'll make a video when the court decides Massa's fate, but for now, like and oh look, the subscribe button just lit up. The Grid out.